Let's picture the scene. Jacob is upon his deathbed. Gathered around him are his 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Israel. And he gives to each of his sons advice, counsel, and blessings. Yet to 3 of his sons, Ruben, Shimon, and Levi, Yaakov offers rebuke. He tells them off for the sins that they had done. The question is, why did he wait until just before he passed away to rebuke his sons? And to understand this, we have to look at an argument or discussion of our rabbis in the Talmud. One of the rabbis says, it appears to me that there is no one in this generation who can rebuke. A second rabbi said, it appears to me that there's no one in this generation who can receive rebuke. And the third rabbi said that there is no one in this generation who knows how to give rebuke. The discussion is about perhaps one of the most difficult mitzvot in the Torah, telling somebody off. Somebody has hurt you or another person or has committed a sin against God. You're obligated to rebuke them. The verse says, Lo tisnai tachicha bilvavecha. Don't hate your fellow in your heart. Rather do something with that hatred. Hocheach tochiach et amitecha. You shall surely rebuke your fellow. Velo tisa alav chet. And do not bear sin because of him. And these two rabbis are speaking about how to get rebuke right. The first point is to look at the person giving the rebuke. Are they a person who's appropriate to give rebuke? Is their behavior also upstanding, worthwhile? Can they say to somebody, you're misbehaving? And can that person turn around to them and say, well, your behavior is no better? So the first step is to know that you're a person who is entitled, if you like, to give rebuke. The second step is to look at the person you're rebuking. Will they be able to receive that rebuke? Are they such a person? There are some people, it's not worth it. Better, as the Talmud says, not to say something than to say something that's going to have no effect whatsoever. And thirdly, even if you get those two steps right, that the person can give the rebuke and you've got a person who can receive rebuke, you also have to know how to do it. It has to be given in a pleasant way, even though it's something unpleasant, even though it's criticism, but it has to be given over in a pleasant way. And that brings us back to the verse. Don't hate your fellow in your heart. You shall surely rebuke him. But the proviso is, and this is where the verse ends, Lo tisa alav chet. Don't bear sin because of him. Don't embarrass him, because then you're going to make it much worse than it already was. So when you rebuke somebody, you have to do it with a sense of incredible love. And this is why Yaakov waited right until the end of his life before he rebuked his sons. Because he reckoned, perhaps if I rebuke Ruben and Shimon and Levi, they'll be embarrassed. They'll never want to speak to me again. Maybe they'll be so upset that they'll leave me and they'll go and join their uncle Esau. That's not what I want. And Moses did precisely the same thing at the end of his life, after 120 years. Just before he died and handed over the Jewish people to Joshua, he also rebuked them for the wrong that he had done, for precisely the same reason. He didn't want them to be embarrassed of him. He didn't want a situation where they would leave him, so he waited until the last moment. And although it is such an important mitzvah, but Jews often get it wrong. We don't know how to rebuke people. We rebuke people at inappropriate times and inappropriate places. You have to call someone aside. You have to settle them down, speak to them nicely, speak to them gently. Let them get the message. Or as one of my colleagues says, when you tell somebody to go to hell, you have to do it in such a way that they're going to enjoy the ride. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.